John, and it's all about Juror 2, and the first reactions are in. And Clint Eastwood's new movie is dividing early audiences ahead of short-change theatrical release. Juror 2, directed by Clint Eastwood and written by Jonathan Abrams, has sparked mixed reactions following its premiere at the AFI Festival on October 27th. The film, which could be Eastwood's final project, is a legal thriller centred on a juror in a high-profile murder trial. Nicholas Hoult stars as the family man juror, facing a moral dilemma that could sway the trial's outcome towards conviction or quittation. The film's ensemble cast includes Toni Collette, J.K. Simmons, Chris Messina, Zoe Deutsch, Gabriel Basso, Leslie Bibb and Kiefer Sutherland. Audience responses to Juror 2 have been divided, deflecting contrasting opinion about Eastwood's direction and the film's narrative approach. While some appreciate this tension and moral complexity, others find it lacking in depth of originality. The buzz is particularly notable given that the Juror 2 is set for a limited theatrical release, suggesting that Eastwood's reputation might influence its reception as much as the film itself. As a possible conclusion to Eastwood's long career, the reactions to this film could shape the director's legacy in the eyes of both fans and critics. I'm not buying that. Offering a final statement on his distinctive style and storytelling approach, regardless of how this film, the outcome of this in terms of its response, it's not, I'm saying this right now, it's not going to have any negativity towards Eastwood's
legacy.
Yeah,
no chance.
Not.
The man's legacy is cemented in Hollywood. One of the greatest
30
actors.
years ago.
Yeah, fucking more than that. He was acting in the 50s and 60s and he was doing a fantastic job.
John, I actually liked the trailer for this. We did a reaction to this about maybe 3 weeks ago, and I thought it was an interesting concept. It was a moral dilemma type film, and I thought, that's interesting, yeah. I like Nicholas Hoult, and some of the cast in this as well, as they were popping up on that trailer. I was like, that's a fucking good cast as well.
Yeah.
But I do want to go and see it.
Stephen, it's Clint Eastwood. You know my thoughts on Clint. One of my all-time favourite figures, actors, directors. Absolutely love the guy. Rarely brings out a bad movie. There may be some okay movies in his filmography, but in the main, I've never seen a bad movie. He's had his finger.
Yeah.
Prints on, fingertips on, whatever you want to call it, hands on. And he usually casts really well, and there's usually some brilliant direction in the films. Shall I read some of these?
Yeah, that'd be good.
Scott Mendelson had this to say: Juror number 2 surges for its first 2 acts, playing like a gently devious hybrid of 12 Angry Men and No Way Out. Alas, it runs out of story in Act 3 and becomes a series of false endings until almost arbitrarily ending. It's not a catastrophe, nor is it a new genre classic. And look, it doesn't have to be. You need to remember, Clint is in his 90s. Yeah. The fact we're even getting films from this guy is a fucking miracle. Most people are in palliative care or in their own drool in their mid-90s. They're in diapers, as they like to say in the United States, or nappies, as we like to say over here. They've got the Benjamin Button treatment. They've not got younger, they've got older, but they're still shitting themselves, so it's kind of the same, you know what I mean, when they get to the end. It's a miracle this guy's giving us films. You think of one of the leading 2 figures in the current presidential race in America. One's in his late 70s. He's like 15, 16, 17 years younger than Clint. And he's just gone downhill. You can see his mental acuity is shot. He's potentially got dementia. He's rambling. The other one's in her 60s and she's not much fucking better, let's be honest. And the current president in the United States is just a shambles. He's gone. So Clint's still making films. We can't be too harsh on Clint. It might not be a genre classic.
I think it's expectation more than anything. I think it's going to hurt this film, John, in terms of if it's his last film, people just expect it to be the best ever work he's done, and it's not going to be the case.
No.
He has done some mediocre work in terms of directing. Someone actually mentioned Cry Macho there.
Yeah, Cry Macho. I've never seen Cry Macho. That's why I get out of it.
Someone says it's not as bad as Cry Macho. I don't think it's a bad film, but again, it's expectations, and you take what you can out of his long arc of directorial films, not just his acting, the films that he acted in, but his directorial back catalogue as well.
See, I can weasel out of that by saying I've never seen Cry Macho, so it still stands what I says that I've never seen or made a bad movie, because I've not seen that. Clint Eastwood's Juror number 2 takes an intriguing moral dilemma. What if you're a jury member judging the guilt of a man when you may be guilty of that very crime, but squanders it with flat writing and and sluggish pacing. Not as bad as Crime Actual, but as close. Stephen, I've seen a similar concept to this where it was Keanu Reeves and he was playing a lawyer. It was actually a not bad film. It was kind of like a Hallmark special. You know, the ones that Keanu does between sort of John Wicks and other big movies. He was playing a lawyer, and it was revealed at the end that he actually had committed the murder, but it was a great twist. Sort of having an affair with the wife of the person who was murdered, and I think the wife and the son were up for it, and there was a lot of back and forth. Who was guilty? Were they guilty? Was there sort of underlying circumstances? So I've kind of seen this concept done before, but it wasn't a jury member, it was the actual lawyer.
My recollection of the trailer, John, was that the chap that is getting accused, actually we saw in the trailer he didn't do it.
But we don't know if he did do it. He was behind the wheel and he hit something. But I think as they may be exploring the movie, there's multiple people out on that road on that night. So it may have been him, it may not have been him. And if there's any underlying doubt, then you don't admit to it. You're not going to fucking come out and say, I may have killed this person.
But is Nicholas Hoult the one that hit something?
He hit something on the road, but I think there was another guy, minimum one other person, who was on the road behind the wheel who could have killed, I think it was a wife or a woman or something. So there's lots of did he not do it sort of stuff going on. I thought it looked all right, man. I'm not going to lie. I've not seen the movie, so I can't sit here as an authoritative figure and say one way or the other it's a great movie or a shite movie. I just hope it's a watchable movie. I do dislike the drop of the ball in the final act of films, though. If you've got something that's quite thought-provoking and moving along at a nice pace, and then they shit the bed at the end, that's kind of disappointing.
Yeah.
So I would hope that's not happening.
It's normally a case when that happens, when a film overstays its welcome. They just kind of drag it on and it kind of falls flat, as you said. Nicholas
Hoult, though, man, he's just fantastic, isn't he? He's coming up in the Nosferatu movie. He's been in so many films over the last 10, 15 years. He's
Tony Collette as well, John.
Tony Collette.
Fantastic actor.
So I'm glad to see he's getting his dues, that he's apparently been brilliant in the film, because it's kind of centred on him and his dilemma. So I'm glad to see that. We've got Maggie Min, LA. I found myself battling and asking what's the right thing to do. What's real justice during the entire movie? It really challenged people's belief in moral standards. I think the public would love to see this film and go through the same struggle like I did and judge by themselves. It's a gripping story. Its gripping story will stir discussion and people may have different answers after they see it. In theatres November, blah, blah, blah. It's their favourite Clint Eastwood movie in recent years. Nicholas Hoult did a selfie before visit the screen. See, this is the issue you've got as well. Ultimately, I'm going to come back to us because I'm done reading that. You don't need to hear us reading stuff. By the way, look at that screen. Just bring that back up briefly. What a fucking screen. You just cannot beat an IMAX screen, can you? That is an IMAX screen. There's something about getting into an IMAX theatre and you're just right in front of you.
I thought would have been an IMAX, to be fair.
I think any film can be enjoyed on the biggest screen possible. It may not have been shot fully in IMAX, but just getting to see something on that scale, it's just great. It really is. There's nothing better than just looking at it and being in awe. I still maintain the proper full-size IMAX screen in the Science Centre back in the day was insanely big. It was just a shame we had nosebleed seats for it, but still a pleasure to watch a Chris Nolan movie on an IMAX screen of that scale.
I'm always amazed as well, John. You're probably the same yourself when you're sitting.
We didn't have nosebleed with neck-breaking seats.
We normally get in pretty early, don't we, when we're sitting and waiting. It's when you see people coming in and they're standing next to it, the scale.
It's fucking massive.
They look so small in comparison to the screen. It's so, you don't really notice it till someone walks past it, how huge it is. But it's got a slight kind of curve on it, very much similar to your monitors over there, John. But it's just a great sort of what would you say? It's the sensory, just in terms of
that
what
sensory
you're
my
getting
dog's fart. It's just a salt in my nostrils.
Hopefully that will never be invented, smell-o-vision. But
I sincerely hope not.
It's just, I just thought it was
a cooking bacon.
I know you can put any. I know you can put smoky bacon. I know you can put any film onto it, but I just feel sometimes, in terms of a courtroom drama, I just think it's kind of wasted on it,
Yeah, it's probably just been that's been the showing.
Yeah, and could have been, They've
also got a big space for them to maybe go out and speak afterwards, the cast and crew.
Yeah.
But, I know, it's shockingly bad flatulence coming from my dog's house.
In 2006.
Yeah.
Down some dark alley.
It's horrendous. Yeah.
Wow.
That was my That was my schnitzel. I was supposed to get a chicken schnitzel back in the day, and I ended up getting some weird brain matter schnitzel. Turned out I just ended up eating fried egg with chips. So I'd been as well just going to a fucking British pub and doing like your average Londoner, or
Double
not
egg
even
and
Londoner,
chips.
because they're
Double
more.
egg and chips.
Yeah, double egg and chips. Fucking, what was it? Shirley Valentine.
Yeah.
Just eating like them. Shite. I made up for it though. I had gyros. What gyros? I had gyros after I had Cliff Tikka.
Yeah.
So I like to test the culture after stress. I'm not like those little Englander perfidious Albion types down south that like to just eat beans, onions, gravy with a steak pie. Love me grub.
A poker pie.
A poker pie with eels.
Yeah.
Fuck off. But staying like, I'm conflicted. I want to put stock in what these people are saying, but then ultimately they're just the most untrustworthy people on earth.
I put it
These
down to
critics.
expectation more than anything, John. I think that's what it probably is. I think people just think he's going to go out with a bang, and I don't think that's going to be the case. As you said, he's a 90-odd, whatever it is, 92-year-old gentleman who's still directing big films. It's not even an independent film. It's a big mainstream film.
Ultimately, all art's subjective.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of shitting on Joker 2. I've seen a lot of people saying you must go and watch it. No, that's people, not Pico. Don't know what happened there. Peacock. Pickle. I don't mind Branston Pickles, to be fair. I've seen a lot of people saying it's not as bad as what's been made out. Go and watch it and judge for yourself. Apparently, it's actually not a bad film. I've still not seen Joker 2. I may have to watch it before it disappears.
Yeah,
but
forever.
That's a cautionary tale on reactions and reviews. A lot of people are praising it. Some people don't like it. That's just life.
It is, yeah.
It's all subjective. I personally like the look of the trailer. I don't know if it's a film I would go and watch in a theatre. I have to be honest. It's maybe one I watch on a streaming service a couple of months later.
Yeah.
I now reserve going to the theatre for really like top tier award sort of baiting movies or big movies like June.
Or a community sort of
Deadpool.
come together type thing where you're getting the vibe of the room, John.
That's what I kind of reserve going to a theatre for now.
That's why we're trying to go and see some Indian stuff. With Indian
it's one of the things I definitely want to try. I want to see an Indian film with the Indian community, because we've got a massive Indian community and they're top people. What they've done, bringing their culture here and giving us a taste of it. You can never,
into our living rooms,
can never ever downplay the importance of that. They've saved us from gammon. And fucking just gammon and beef ham and steak pie, just turgid, beige, mundane shite getting served to you on the nightly. I thank Indian people and Chinese people and Japanese people and Korean people and Italian people and French people for
Germans.
Just thank multiculturalism and Turkish people and Greeks for coming here and bringing their fucking palates here, because they are infinitesimally better than Scotland and Britain in general. So, where was I going with that?
Mince.
Yeah, exactly. I don't mind mince. A bit of brown sauce.
Every day.
Not every day, though. And that's the problem. Effo and whatnot back in the day, eating that shit every day. And that's why the average life expectancy back in the day was 53 or something. Maybe 30 odds if you lived in the wrong area.
Yeah.
Multiculturalism, though, I'd love to experience a film with the Indian community, because they do it differently to us. Yeah. Not as dour as us.
Yeah, before we move on though, folks, are you going to see Juror 2? First reactions are in. What do you think of them? Do you think it puts you off, or you don't bother? Clint Eastwood's potential last film as well. Will that be enough to draw you into the theatre, or are you going to wait and see it on one of the streaming platforms? You can let us know in the comment section, folks. But we're going to move on to our